And why don't we head to Q here, and then we'll get back to other things. Q, are you out there? Can you hear us? Are we coming across?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing, Jim?
We're doing all right. This is the Fathers, Mothers, and Family Show. Q, how are you? You are busy with the IraqWarHeroes.org and honoring veterans, honoring our troops, honoring the fallen. Give us a brief update, Q.
Well, I just did 3 more funerals back to back. Now, these were for veterans. One of them was for a veteran. I think it was July 17th that he died. And the funeral home tried and couldn't locate any family or friends.
Oh.
So we all got together and we became the family. And, I photographed it and we did the funeral. And one of the kids from the Young Marines that received the flag at the funeral from the Honor Guard. Mm-hmm. So that was, I bet you that has a great impression on his life and outlook on life. He's a good kid. I think he's in Young Marines. He's like a master sergeant or something. Don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I had another service for a Navy guy, veteran. And Mr. Coconut, he's an avid I keep busy, I guess. I know I've got 2 more pending. One of the guys, we call him Mr. Coconut. He's an avid Patriot Guard rider. He just died recently of cancer. So we'll have a service for him. He's also a veteran. We'll have a service for him coming up next week. And then I've heard of another one that just died. So, yeah. What can I say?
Yeah.
And then also we're still at war. We have lost this week 2 more in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad it's much slower, but, it's slowly starting to pick up again, too, especially with them sending more and more people over back to Iraq.
Well, it seems like the show is starting back up again.
It seems like it. Confirmed there are at least 800 over there, but I'm sure that there's quite a few that they haven't told us about yet. And then I'm kind of worried about the Syria thing, too.
Well,
I don't have any hard numbers for that yet either. I think they're going to keep that quiet for a while.
That's interesting. Keeping it quiet for a while. That's another. The Syria looks like it's not to be ignored at this point, and looks like it's going to be another theater, so to speak.
Well, if you take a look, from my perspective, if you take a look around that whole area there, the Middle East and that, it's just waiting for somebody to pop the wrong thing, and that kind of worries me. So,
Well, they are saying that they have, they did try to fly a rescue mission in to Syria for the journalists, and then they're saying that they might go in to bomb it. And then, of course, they have been bombing the ISIS rebels there in Iraq. So it does seem to be heating up again, and more blood and treasure will be lost in the Middle East, it seems.
And, they keep saying we are sending more people over there to safeguard Americans. I'm going to say this. It's going to be much cheaper just to fly them out. The other thing that's starting to really just annoy the hell out of me, see, I didn't use that other word, is the fact that ISIS and those other scumbags, they're using, guess whose weapons? Our weapons.
Yeah.
The ones we just left over there because we felt it was too much trouble to take the stuff home. I'm sorry, but when I go out to play, I like to take my toys home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they've a lot of it is the stuff, weapons that they've captured from the Iraq army that they just dumped them and just dropped and ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
we lost a general recently too.
General
Green.
Green.
Heard about that?
Yes, General
he was
Green
shot by quote unquote, one of the friendlies.
Yeah.
You can't trust him. It's in my opinion that most of those people want us dead unless they're getting something from us.
Q, hold that point for just 1 minute. I've got a very short announcement that I need to do, and hold that thought. We'll get right back to you.
Sure.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program on this program are those of the hosts, the guests, and the live callers. They do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Portland State University, KPSU Radio, or the participating sponsors, underwriters, or affiliates. Listener discretion is advised. Say that again. They want to kill us unless they're getting something from us. I think that's how you phrased it.
You could say that. They don't like us. They want us dead, most of them, I think. I mean, I realize that there's some civilians there that are involved, or some basic people that just want to live their lives. They don't care either way. Mm-hmm. But I think, though, that there's a lot of them that just don't care unless they're getting something from us.
Well, a lot of the Muslim feeling is that they don't want us in the Middle East. They don't want us in the Holy Land there, and that really should withdraw. I mean, we have solid hydrogen. There's no need for us to use oil. We can convert over to that. It seems that we're just wasting our time and our money and on the lives of Americans in that part of the world.
Well, I think we're being hypocritical on the oil stuff. Why are we exporting our oil and then paying twice as much to get back oil into this country? At least that's what it appears like to me.
That's an interesting thought. We're getting to the point. I'm not sure if we've started exporting or we just have, but we're getting to that point for geopolitical reasons or politics or just plain economics. But it sure seems we're paying more per barrel than we're getting per barrel.
See, it's like, why are we not getting the oil? Why is Iraq not using? Unless it's possible that behind the lines they're manipulating us in the first place. But why are we not getting oil from Iraq at like a super big discount to help pay for everything we put into that country to save them and protect them and rebuild them? Why are we not getting anything back?
Well, that's a good point. Why aren't we getting a 20% discount on Iraqi oil as a paper-thin thank you note?
Yeah, it should be at least that.
Mm-hmm.
But what worries me, though, is would they even tell us if they gave us the discount? Because on this side, they're just going to suck that right up and say, screw the consumer.
Well, let me throw a thought out for you to get your thoughts here. There is a view that this part of the world is vital U.S. interests. Somebody has to somehow guide it towards civility, calmness, democracy. Your thoughts on that, Q, and I appreciate your thoughts.
It's not working because we're not helping the UK. They're being overrun. We're not helping a lot of northern countries. They're being overrun. And we all know France is already being overrun. Why are we not worried about them being overrun, and then we're sticking our nose over there? Shouldn't our main interest be with those that have been allies to us over the years?
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing anything.
Well, and
and at the same time, what about our borders? They're wide open. They say, well, it's just blah, blah, blah coming in. No, you don't know who's coming in because the borders are wide open. And the other thing is, every time they catch an American that's raising a gun up against our people, we need to terminate them. Don't bring them back over here to get our justice, because there is no justice. You get a lifetime of room, bed, and board, and more amenities than I can afford. If you're going to take up arms against our people, I don't care if you're American or not, you need to just die. Where you at?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of making excuses. Matter of fact, they've caught recently at least 2 more that are running with ISIS now that have been proven to be from this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're saying that it's possibly around 100 people that are Americans that have joined ISIS and are in Syria fight the Sunnis fighting against the Alawi Shiite Muslims. So they're saying that Americans have joined the radical Islamic movement of ISIS. Yeah.
Like I said, take up arms against Americans. If you claim to be American, first thing that should happen is you lose your citizenship, and we happen to kill you in the process. Hey, I don't feel sorry for you at all.
So you think there are about 100 Americans who have joined ISIS?
They're saying that it could around that number. That the estimation is around that number.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
Yes, that Americans have become radicalized and joined this radical Islamic movement.
That's. Go ahead, Q.
But I wonder how much of that is being caused because of how this country is treating people nowadays within the country. Look, you got Burger King about to move across the border to save on taxes. You got companies like Facebook, they do their profit taking overseas and their losses in the U.S., so they get away with lots of it. You know, we need to seriously start cleaning up inside this country. And I don't know if you remember, but when the war in Iraq started, you know, they caught at least one or two guys that were from this country shooting at us. One of them, matter of fact, they brought back to stand trial, but, you know, what good did that do? All I'm saying is, you know, if we do have to go back to Iraq and those places, I'd just say send in the Air Force, man. Turn it to glass.
Well, that's what they're saying, that they're going to do an air campaign and then let the Kurds and the Iraq army fight it out with ISIS, and then just provide air support. And I would say that that's as far as the involvement we should go. And other than, you know, I don't really believe we should be in the Middle East because we do have solid hydrogen, and there's no reason for us to be using oil, in my opinion. And so, you know, it's a very tragic thing. The world is in a very precarious place right now.
What about the morale of our military? We keep sending them to places and say, well, don't shoot the bad guys. You know, and then we don't finish the job. Then we bring them back home. Then we pull them out again. No.
How does this play? How does this play with the military? There, we had a complete withdrawal of troops. Well, we withdrew the troops three years ago. Now we're going back in.
Where?
Go ahead.
Withdrew them from where?
Iraq. I'm sorry.
No, we didn't. We're still over there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, we don't have as many. I mean, it brought a lot of guys home, especially a lot of the guys have been rotated through there so many tours. We brought a lot of them home, but we still have a pretty big size presence there.
Okay.
And you know, we're gonna. If I remember, and it was better than a rumor, a while back, we signed this 10-year agreement with the Iraqi government of maintaining a base there. So if you look through history, name me one country that we've bombed the hell out of, even for a short period of time, that we, didn't end up supporting for the rest of their existence. And then, plus on top of that, end up paying for it. But we still have bases, for example, all over Germany. We're paying for the property we're sitting on. We're required to hire a certain percentage of locals to do menial work. So, how much of all of that is in our interest when we're leaving our borders wide open? I don't know. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke here, but, I'm frustrated. I'm tired of seeing our men and women die over there, and our government just, the VA treats them like crap. Our government treats them like crap, and it's like, why? So...
Well, and that's the thing, another thing is the veterans are not getting the kind of services they need, which is a tragedy that here these people have given their lives for the country and risked or those that have risked their lives as well. And here we're not providing for their well-being. And that's another continued tragedy in this country, that the Veterans Administration is not doing enough to help the veterans. They're saying that they passed this bill recently to provide money for the VA, but will that money be used efficiently? And is it enough?
Well, no, that money probably needs to pay for another bureaucracy that has to then figure out what to do with the change that's left over. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking regular government, that's kind of how it seems to work, right? Look at Portland. Portland wants to start a street tax because all the money we're paying toward roads have been diverted for other things over the years, and nothing's been done. So now they want to punish us some more. The
street repair, the street maintenance fund is being used somewhere else. So now they've got to do something to raise some more funds.
Well,
and they refuse to guarantee that 100% of that will go to fixing roads, because it won't. Maybe 10% will.
Well, and what's shocking to me, too, is that there's areas that are in the southeast that the roads are the same as they were in the 1800s as they are today. And that's it. And we're talking about that Portland is a major city. It's the largest city in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And here you have such ramshackle situation. And, yes, it's to be questioned whether our tax dollars are being used efficiently.
And look at all the street taxes those houses have been paying all these years, right?
Yeah, they've been paying for tons.
No, instead they come out with a new gimmick to make some more quick money. A friend of mine lives close to the county line, and they decided, well, we're going to force you all to be on the sewer, even nothing is wrong with the sewer system. So, and against their will, they're being charged anywhere from $4,000 to $15,000. And if you don't have it because you're old and retired, we'll just take you home. Put a lien on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is our tax dollars should be used efficiently to help people, and people are being taxed out of their homes, and this is a continued tragedy that's happening, and it worries me. The condition of the country, we seem to be, at a standstill. We're not having progress in a way that is helping people.
Well, that's what they invented laws for, to prevent progress. If you go back to, the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, before they started passing all the laws against progress, we were a nation that was growing fast, inventing stuff left and right. I mean, we were kicking butt. And now we just draw something up and hand it over to the Chinese or Japanese and leave it at that and do nothing.
Well, and the Chinese economy is now the largest economy, and the United States is the second largest economy, and that hasn't happened. This is unprecedented.
Has that actually? Have they actually overtaken us then?
Yes, they have.
Oh, I think they've been ahead of us for a while.
Okay.
So. Wow. I've said this many times. At the rate that this country's going, we're going to look up to Ethiopia for handouts. It may seem funny now, but you wait and see. If you look at the rate that they try to put people on poverty, put people on the government handout, though, the rate that they're doing that is just enormous. And who's paying for all of this?
Yeah.
Well, the tax dollars are being spent inefficiently, and it's a terrible thing. And the country isn't getting better. The economy is slowly, stagnantly recovering.
It's slowly recovering. But Q makes a very good point. You can't spend more than you have, even if you don't spend it wisely. You can't spend more than you have for too long.
No, and we need to pay down the debt. We need to pay down the debt, be at a balanced budget, and this is a terrible thing that's happening.
Yeah. Q, you mentioned more and more expenses or spending money at the government level here. Your thoughts on that, or what can be done?
Well, the unfortunate thing is they're guaranteeing their votes by handing it out. All right? I don't know. I can start a whole string on a whole bunch of other stuff. But hey, this is what? Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, we're coming up on Labor Day.
So,
some thoughts on that,
I
Q?
want to challenge full Labor Day weekend. I want to challenge all the employers out there to make it a priority to hire someone that just spent some time in Iraq or in Afghanistan or some other foreign theater serving our country, making sure that they get a job.
Yeah.
I'm really tired of seeing a bunch of homeless, jobless vets when they shouldn't be. At some point, the country thought they were great enough, and I think most of them still are great enough if somebody gives them a chance to work. And when they come home, give them back their jobs, for crying out loud, instead of coming up with loopholes not to give them their work. So make it a focus to hire a vet.
Q, well said to everyone out there. Hire a vet. Make an effort there. Well said.
Okay, and, if you are curious to see how many men and women have recently given their all for our country, I ask you to visit IraqWarHeroes.org and take a close look at that list. Scroll down slowly, and it'll sink in, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're still at war, folks.
How many people have died in the Iraq and Afghanistan war, Q? Do you know that number exactly?
Well, I've got over 7,000 listed that were either in Iraq or in Afghanistan. So take away, so there's at least 6,000, I would say.
Wow.
Because some of them died stateside, so.
But that have died, so you say around 6,000 have died overseas.
Correct.
Wow, and around 1,000 that have died in the United States.
Correct.
So is that, some of that is from like suicide, some of that's from health conditions?
Yeah, PTSD, because people are not treating them right, taking care of them. But, and some of them would, I had a guy in California, he came back from 2 tours, he went back to work at a convenience store, and within a week he was shot.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I had another serviceman that was recently killed on his motorcycle. Somebody didn't see him and decided to just, run into him. And then there's a lot of PTSD, a lot of suicides. And the war coming home with you. Like I keep saying, different people have different cracking points.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're not doing anything about it, or enough about it, that's a real sad thing.
And remember, everyone can say thank you to someone in the service, former service member. Thank you for serving.
It doesn't take much at all, but, it helps them, believe it or not. And, even some from the greatest generation, they're fairly easy to spot. Usually they're wearing a cap or something that identifies a unit or what war they served in, whatever. Yeah, just say thank you. And if you got a budget, hey, if you're in a restaurant, slip the waiter or waitress $5 or $10 and say put it toward his or her meal.
Small things.
Small things.
But and the thank you can be huge.
Yes, and can be contagious.
We have the freedom here to argue over policy, what we should do, should not do, talk about mistakes, talk about what went right. We have that freedom because collectively of the men and women who have served over the last 200 years, we have that freedom. That's
correct. They serve this country, so I can voice my opinion. If it's a momentary opinion, if it's just a reaction opinion, whatever, I can still at this point just voice an opinion if it's right or wrong, because they made it happen.
We take that for granted. Even looking out at Labor Day weekend here, if there's a labor issue, people can play out that issue. It's part of participatory democracy and a mass demonstration. They can do that in this country. We have we take that for granted. And
we do.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost us dearly.
Q, I also want to note that the work you do on IraqWarHeroes.org, you do this all volunteer.
Yep, that's correct. Do a lot of it.
Honoring our troops, honoring the fallen. You do this all volunteer.
Correct.
That is an.
And then I attend as many funerals as I could possibly get to, and I photograph them free for the families. You know, and because especially if they have kids in that, later on they'll see how their hero was honored. You know, and there's so much that when the grieving families, there's so much that goes on that they don't see happening. It's all just kind of a blur.
Right.
So I offer it to them, you know, in color and black and white. So down the road they can reflect or whatever. So.
And as you've said before, they may not be ready to. They're in such a state of mental fatigue, of being overwhelmed, that it may be months later before they're actually ready to look at the pictures.
Correct. And, you know, sometimes they're a little unsure because, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, when someone dies, there's all these scammers out there trying to do stuff for you. And, you know, but the good thing is that there's enough people out there that know what I'm doing that, you know, if somebody's in doubt, they won't be in doubt very long. And like I said, you may not want the pictures. You may not want them right now, but down the road, you'll be happy I took them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
3 months from now, 3 years from now, they'll want these. They'll want these pictures. Q, some thoughts for us. You've been working at this a long time. Hours.
Yeah, matter of fact, that's what I spend most of today is working on funeral pics from a funeral I shot yesterday. You know, one funeral can take, you know, anywhere from 8 to 19 hours to process.
Wow.
But my thought is, be thankful to our veterans out there. And, you know, think about who you're voting for. Think about what their plans are. And, hey, be grateful and thankful for every man and woman out there that's given their all for this country. Because it may not affect your life right now, but it could be your neighbor next. Be somebody else in your family that's serving proudly. So let's not forget.
Well, Q, well said. Nathan, a final thought here, or a thought or final question for Q here?
Well, I just want to say that, you know, we have to remember the veterans that have sacrificed so much for this country. And, you know, we're in such a precarious state in this nation. And I just hope that we seek what is good and decent for the American people, and that our elected officials really truly seek to do what's good for people and put the people's interests before their own political ideology and their own political interests.
Well said.
And we really, you know, we're coming into Labor Day this weekend, and we have to think of the economy and how we can better improve it, and how companies need to work in a socially responsible way that best serves the public. You know, and that they exist to provide services for the public, of course at a cost for the purpose of making a profit. But you know, if we put people before profits, and we really seek to provide a good service for people in whatever business people are doing, that will best serve the public.
You know, a lot of companies are importing people with special visas, like from India and everywhere else. You know, I challenged them also. I bet you can find a bunch of veterans that are just as smart, if not smarter, than those guys.
Yeah, don't overlook our veterans.
You know? All right, I bid you guys a good night. And a good Labor Day weekend. Stay safe out there. Don't drink and drive, and don't text and drive. I am so tired of people texting and not seeing the green light and holding me up in traffic.
Boy, yeah. QMAPE, IraqWarHeroes.org. You do this all volunteer, honoring our troops, honoring the fallen, honoring the men and women who are serving, who have served. Thank you very much for being part of our show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. QMAPE, thank you so much. You take care now. Nathan, a thought or two, and then we'll have a few announcements here.
Well, I just, we're going to Labor Day, and I just hope that we, corporations, seek to do what's good for people and provide good services in an honest way. Honest endeavor together. Move forward in honest endeavor together. And if we do that and help people and provide good services for people, that the economy will grow.
Yeah, an honest service for an honest wage.
Yes.
And don't overlook these veterans. Nathan, we've got a couple announcements here, and then we'll have you and I will have a few final thoughts.
All right.
Okay.
Sparkling wines and champagne are also all-purpose wines. They go with just about everything from breakfast to after dinner.
Sit back, relax, make sure your ice trays are full, your cell phone is off, and you have nothing to do until tomorrow afternoon. Because it's cocktail hour with Gin Madness. Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This summer, the staff and management at Blitz Pearl, Blitz Lad, and Blitz 99W would like to congratulate this year's graduating students and remind our listeners to be responsible and please don't drink and drive. If you're planning on drinking, elect a designated driver. If you choose to drink at a party or family gathering, don't be afraid to hand over the keys or call a cab. For more information or your nearest location, you can visit them online at blitzsportspubs.com.
KPSU is brought to you in part by the PSU Bike Hub. A Bike Hub membership is only available to PSU students and faculty, where you get access to their tools and equipment, and they'll help you work on your bike. Of course, they also offer numerous free workshops and clinics. They sell bike accessories, they offer lock removal, secure bike parking permits, bike loans, and of course, professional service and repair.
Bicycle, bicycle, I want to ride my bicycle.
Nathan, a couple of a final thought or so here before
well, I hope that people enjoy the holiday weekend and remember that that workers are what makes this country great, and the people that contribute to the economy through their labor, that should be appreciated, and that we really should move towards policies that bring about what's good and decent for the American people.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and I wanted to say something about. I noticed that it is out there. They are really making an effort to hire veterans, which is really good.
Okay. And Ron's on the phone here. He's going to say hi for a minute. Ron, go right ahead.
Hello, PSU, and hello, Portland. Good to talk to all of you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I missed the show.
Ron, we'll get back.
Hello, Nathan.
Good to hear you, Ron.
Good to hear you, too.
Yeah. Okay. Ron, thanks so much for being part of the show after all.
Yep.
Okay.
More than happy to be here, Jim.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
That's our show for this evening. Nathan, thank you very much for being part of the show.
Thank you, Jim. It's an honor as always.
And we'll go out with God Bless America by Aline Lee Greenwood. Thank you, Nathan. We'll be back.
Thanks, Jim.
If tomorrow all the things were I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the